All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Bearean Bunker Broadcast. This is episode 80, and we're doing Bible in a Year. And today's broadcast is very special because I just finished a giant project yesterday, so I'm going to toast my wife.
Oh.
I know, right?
Cheers.
Cheers, and praise Yahweh. Because it was big, and my help dwindled. And if you're watching this, you already saw I'm posted a before after, so it's kind of a little picture of what I do outside this building. And then so yesterday, episode 79, we were in 1 Corinthians 5 through 9, and we reviewed some comments, and the subject of those chapters was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And Paul was dealing with the Corinthians, and those people were horrible.
True.
Yeah, they were.
There's no sugarcoating that.
There is no sugarcoat, because Corinth was steeped in pagan worship. So when the people turned to Yeshua, sometimes they brought in their pagan worship, and of course that involved sacrifices and all these other things. And they were also petty, so they were suing each other, embittered. And then there was some instructions on marriage. And then also, don't get disqualified in your Christian walk. Your walk to follow Yeshua. Our pursuit of faithfulness is our purpose here on earth. Honoring Yahweh and pursuing faithfulness. All right, so today we were in 1 Corinthians 10 through 13. So we took turns reading. And if you guys are following along with us, great. We're going to cover this. So, okay, we have a few summaries here. We've got headships and coverings. And that was a very fun conversation to sort out some of that. Unity at the Lord's table. Spiritual gifts for the body. And a superior way to love. So that's it. So want to take it away, babe?
Sure. We didn't really review what we were going to talk about too much, but so...
Unscripted. Uncut.
Unscripted. So 12:1 I had written down. So we had a conversation about that. I thought, and I go, can this be true? And it says here, in 12:3, therefore I make known to you that no one speaking by the Ruach Elohim says, Yeshua be cursed, and no one can say Yeshua is Lord, except by the Ruach HaKodesh, if I'm saying that correctly. And I said, is that right? So someone who is not speaking in the Spirit cannot say Yeshua is Lord? Because I thought, imitators or even like Satan, couldn't Satan say Yeshua is Lord? And you thought that he would not say that.
I really, truly believe that Satan would never, ever utter those three words, ever. I think he would.
So then I thought, well, this...
Because that would be a confession.
This would be a great test for people. You'd say Yeshua is Lord. So, it could be like your test for people to see if they're walking in the Spirit.
Walking in the Spirit.
So I don't know. That's the thing. Because that's what it says here, unless there's something else there.
Yeah.
And then it went on. So do you have anything you want to add to that?
I think anybody who believes that Yeshua is the Son of God can confess that, to anyone. Unless they were afraid. For instance, if someone says, if you say that, I will shoot you. Because sometimes that happens in life. Many people have died because they said that. You said that in those times, you were professing that Caesar wasn't God. You said, well, Jesus is Lord. That means king. And that would get you strung up and fed to the lions. And so you would not only say that unless you were really, truly in the Spirit.
Yeah.
Today, I don't know.
And then 12:15 came out, struck me. 12:14 on.
What's that?
Oh, okay. 12:15. If the foot says, since I'm not the hand, I'm not part of the body, is it therefore not part of the body? And if the ear says, since I'm not an eye, I'm not part of the body. Okay, what was I thinking here? There was, is it therefore any less part of the body? So I think what I was thinking here is that just because we've been talking a lot about marriage too, is that in here, sometimes we think that we're better. You know, maybe sometimes I think I'm better than you, or like at something.
You're an eye, I'm a foot.
Yeah, and I'm just like, but without you, I'm comparing this to marriage. Without you, we would not be good, because I need everything that you have, and you need what I have, and so together we are the body of our marriage.
Absolutely.
So that's what it was striking me as. Speaking to me, that, you know, don't get puffed up in what you think, you know, oh, you're so good. Or so, like we've been talking about, you're a procrastinator. Well, I've got my own issues. This doesn't have to be a confession today. But, you know.
Let it be said.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not having a confession day. But obviously I have my issues. So it was a reminder to me, it was speaking to me that I should not get puffed up at all in myself, and I should not look down on you in any way because because of issues you may have. So that was.
Well, I agree with that. You can't look down on me anyway because you're too short.
Yeah. No, I don't even know what did I do? There was something else in here. But you go ahead and talk about yours, and there was something else. There was a lot going on here.
Can I toss a little tail on your kite there?
Yes, please.
It's funny how when people think of a body, they think of a church building and the people in the building.
Yeah.
And over in scriptures, Yahweh works with individuals as well as small groups, medium groups, and large groups. And a marriage is supposed to imitate that relationship between the father and his congregation. And we are a body here of believers, and small body. And we're part of other, stuff too. But if your spiritual walk doesn't start in the home, and if you're a husband and your spiritual walk doesn't start with trying to figure out how to not be a selfish ogre, and I'm not talking about morality, because it's pretty easy for a smart Christian man who knows how to read and knows how to read people to be a moral guy,
Or at least a showboat. Show their morality.
Because nobody's seeing your head or your internet history. But
and actually, there it is. That was part of the other thing. Do you mind if I say something?
Can I hit it?
Okay, because
I was just intermission.
Yeah. So it was 12:23. Those parts of the body that we think to be, so this is the way it speaks to me.
Yep.
Those parts of the body that we think to be less honorable, we clothe with great honor. Is that kind of, I was like, what? So if we think they're less honorable, why do we clothe them with great honor? And our unrepresentable parts are treated with greater modesty. So to me, when you're modest, you cover things up. That's the way this is reading to me. But our presentable parts have no such need. So the things that we want people to see, we don't treat with modesty. We let those shine. We let those out for all to see. But the parts of our body that we think to be less honorable, we clothe with great honor. We hide them. That's just the way it's reading to me. I could totally be off. The parts of our body that we think to be less honorable, we clothe with great honor. And our unrepresentable parts, we treat with greater modesty. It just seems with modesty you cover things. Isn't that the thing about, cover up, have some modesty. I don't know.
That's some gravy.
That's just the way it read to me.
I just like to watch you work through stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Your turn.
All right. So my observations were in 11, Paul, again, my observations are always going to be that 100% almost of the church misunderstands Paul. And therefore, he gets a bad rap from people, and he gets worshipped by people, and all he is an apostle. He himself said, I'm the least of saints. Then he said I was the chief of sinners and all this other stuff. And then so it seems like people like are going, oh, well, Paul's using reverse psychology. He's really the greatest of the great, or whatever. I mean, he's clearly influential, and he's clearly used, but he's also clearly a humble man who was trying to weld things together so that the Gentiles, which just means nations, which just means people dispersed by God because of their unfaithfulness, could come back to the covenant of Abraham through Yeshua. So he says right in Corinthians here, he goes, be imitators of me, just as I am of the anointed. Who's the anointed? Yeshua, the Messiah, the Hamashiach, the Messiah. Now I praise you because you have been remembering me in everything, and hold firmly to the traditions as I delivered to you. Now, what kind of tradition do you think Paul would have delivered to the people of Corinth?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, what, like, if Paul was bringing tradition in Scripture, what kind of, say, name a hypothetical tradition that Paul would have been bringing to the people who were trying to get back to the Abraham seed, like.
What kind of tradition? I don't know. There were lots of them, weren't there?
Like Passover.
Oh, I see what you're going. I see where you're going. See, my brain isn't always where yours is.
Oh,
I'm not sure
yeah.
where you're going. Where you're trying to.
Right on.
Where the conversation was going there. So traditions. You're saying that he's imitating the traditions that they were doing, and those were some of the days and the food, like
the times, the appointed times, and stuff. Because Yahweh uses the appointed times so that we can track the year and have an orderly life, and also it reminds us who he is in creation, and it reminds us to stop what we're doing and be with him. That's why he created the Sabbath day, so we would stop and just remember, and then he makes parties, the feasts. Come on down and party and give thanks in all things. He even says, make a savings account. One of the tithes that the Israel had was a savings account, and then they would put it aside, and then they would go party in Jerusalem with Yahweh. Read Deuteronomy. I'm not playing games. So I just thought that was really interesting that Paul we're trying to bring the people back in, and also traditions bring you back to giving thanks. I mean, we're staring down the barrel of some really fun stuff. Some of the traditions are not specific in scriptures, but like Passover and Shavuot and Sukkot and Yom Kippur and all kinds of things.
And so Hanukkah is coming up very soon, and that is not how is that different from what the Shavuot or?
Because Hanukkah is not in the scriptures.
I thought Jesus participated in Hanukkah.
In John 10, Jesus was walking around. He would happen to be in Jerusalem at the time that they were celebrating the Festival of Lights, the tradition of the Maccabees.
So it was in the Bible.
It's in the book of John
Yeah.
that Jesus was there, but it's not in the scriptures as a thing that happened, except in the book of Maccabees. Like, it's an extra biblical tradition. Like, so there's nothing against doing Hanukkah. Like, we're doing Hanukkah. We're going to have some fun with that. Absolutely. But it's not a commanded time of remembrance, appointed time.
Yeah, no, I knew it wasn't commanded.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just, you were saying it wasn't in the Bible. So if you knew Jesus was walking around,
But
don't
he
they have
didn't.
to mention Hanukkah or the Festival of Lights?
It's kind of like, say we went on a trip to somewhere. Say we went down to Brazil for whatever reason, and they were doing Carnival. But of course we wouldn't do Carnival because it's a pagan end of meat ceremony. So we would like walk around town going, wow, this is Carnival. And then somebody said, Tim and Rachel were down in Brazil for Carnival. So Jesus was walking around during the Festival of Lights, but there's no indication that he was jamming with the Maccabean tradition. He was just walking around
I think our
in Jesus.
miscommunication here is, did they say the Festival of Lights?
They said the Festival of Lights
So
in John.
so it is in the Bible. And it didn't say he participated in it, but it didn't say that he was against it.
True.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be but Paul did not bring probably Hanukkah to the people of Corinth, is what I'm saying.
And that's fine. I'm not trying to say that it's a commanded thing or anything. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of, is it in the Bible, the Festival of Lights? Is it mentioned in the scriptures?
It is mentioned in the scriptures.
That's all I was trying to get to. For my knowledge, I'm not trying to challenge you. I'm just like, because it's coming up and people talk about it and I want to know, is it in the scriptures?
Yep.
And we do lots of studies. So I know we've done many studies on Hanukkah, but we've done so many on so many things. I have to keep, like every day, I have to re-bring it. So it's in John?
It's in John.
Okay. It's not a commanded thing. It's just a tradition.
It is a tradition. Absolutely. See how easy we can use time?
Yes. Well, if you just agree with me, we could get there quicker.
I was going to chop some of this up, but you know what? I'm leaving it raw. I'm absolutely leaving it raw. So, here's something. Number one, I know I'm wearing the same sweatshirt I wore yesterday. I wear the same sweatshirt.
Oh my God. Minnesota twin.
Hey!
That's funny. Okay. That is funny.
Another thing though, if you're still here, I know a lot of you are too busy to watch a couple yokels talk about the scriptures, but we sit and do this all day.
We do. So it just happened to be. Okay.
Because I'm interested to see, I'll tell you, I spent a lot of my life not more interested in my own self than my wife's thinking processes, because I would just get impatient. But the more I've fallen and had to humble myself before God, the more he's like, your wife has a process. And the more I'm beginning to respect her thinking process. And now it's a joy because it's not a matter of agreement or disagreement, because there's not a guillotine that's going to fall on the head of the person in the wrong or right or whatever. So it's like, what is my wife thinking about? Is it, here's the accounting thing. Is it mentioned in scriptures? And then I'm thinking like 5,000 different ways of things that could or couldn't be mentioned in scripture in a certain context. And I'm like, yes, okay. So.
Yes or no? What time is it?
Yeah, exactly. What time is it? Okay. Well, where are we?
Okay, so I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing today?
Today I am going to do some carpentry, and I think we're gonna jackhammer up a sidewalk.
Nice. I think it's supposed to be a nice day.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
Ow!
No snow in the future. That was my daughter.
She's carrying her German Shepherd puppy who has doubled in size in 2 weeks. So
I know, that dog is getting huge.
Yeah, so.
So, yeah. So, traditions that Paul did bring.
That's it.
That's it. There was something else I thought.
Maybe you can do that tomorrow.
No, because you don't let me go back in time. My wife won't let me go back in time. Here, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm just going to read something. Here, this is directly from the scriptures, or at least it's Paul, chapter 13 of 1 Corinthians. Listen to this. If I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I become a noisy gong or clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and know all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all that I own, and if I hand over my body so I might boast, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not brag, it is not puffed up, it does not behave inappropriately, It does not seek its own way. It is not provoked. It keeps no account of wrong. It does not rejoice over injustice, but rejoices in truth. It bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things. It endures all things. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will pass away. Where there are tongues, they will cease. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect has come, then that which is partial will pass away. When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I will know fully, even as I have fully known, even as I have been fully known. But now these three remain: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. With that, I hope you guys have a blessed day, and see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Or bye.